Welcome back to another episode of Can You Reach That?
Can you reach that?
Question for you.
What you got, man?
What's your thoughts on pineapple on a pizza?
Pineapple.
Is that doable? Is that a
On a
no-go
pizza.
for you?
Pizza, in general.
Mm-hmm.
There is one exception. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Even bad pizza.
Still pizza?
Still pizza.
Okay, that's an interesting take.
I mean, that's the only reason people eat, pizza rolls and pizza bagels and stuff like that, because it's
What has the pizza flavoring?
it's there. It's all right.
People like pepperoni.
But with that said, if pineapple is on the pizza that I'm eating, it's not going to stop me from eating it. Do I go out of my way to order pineapple on pizza? Not necessarily. But if it's on there, like if I go somewhere, event or something like that, and they got, it happens, whatever.
Yeah.
It's still pizza. I'm not going to eat it.
Still eat it, huh? Okay,
So,
that's cool.
But yeah,
cool.
that's any pizza is still pizza with one exception.
What's that?
Chuck E. Cheese.
What's wrong with Chuck E. Cheese pizza?
So, I mean, there's YouTube videos and stuff, and I think there's an
Hold on,
employee
real quick. Why are you going to Chuck E.
that
Cheese for
got
pizza?
fired. I like to look at the children.
Can you reach that? You see that? Let's talk about it. Read that. Believe that. Let the people know that you see that and what they want to know. Can you reach that? Can you reach that? Now you're home. Can you reach that? Can you reach that? Cool. Can you reach that?
Can you reach that?
Can you reach?
No, I'm just, parties and events for
Yeah, for the
kids
little
and
kids.
whatnot. But, not. There's YouTube videos. You can look this up. There's YouTube videos where the pizza is essentially recycled to save costs.
How do you
So, like,
recycle pizza?
If you leave, let's say you're there, you leave a couple slices on your tray.
They take it and give it to.
If they're complete slices, they take them to the back, retray it, and they wait till they have enough leftover slices to create a pizza, and then that'll be served to somebody else at some point.
That's dirty.
And they've proven it in various ways. Like they've proved, like when you order your pizza and you get your pizza, where you look at where the slices have been done, the pepperonis don't line up.
They don't line up.
So you can see like there's a half a pepperoni, but the other half ain't even there. And even the outer layer of the crust where the cheese ends, it's just all mismatched. Like it does. You can tell it's not
That's wild.
of the same pizza.
That's wild.
Some employee actually filmed himself going back there and showing the process, and ended up getting brought back to the manager. And he's, manager's like, "Why are you filming this and showing people this? Like, it's against the rules when you got hired, etc." But it's a form of cost cutting apparently that they do.
That's crazy. I'd have never thought of that.
So gross.
Yeah, super gross.
But
I mean,
beyond
the kids don't care. I'm guessing.
I mean, like I said, bad
Pizza's pizza, right? Is
Yeah,
that
right?
what you just said?
I mean, if Lil Billy just decided to hock a loogie and sneeze and whatnot all over a pizza, and then they leave that slice there, somebody else getting that slice could be you.
Got pineapple, pepperoni, and boogers on top of the.
Like there's some thick layer of, I think it's pineapple juice, but there's no pineapples. Why is it so stringy?
That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, and like I said, even bad pizza. I mean, like, so Little Caesars, right?
Love me some Little Caesars.
It's not great, but it's pizza. So I mean, it's cool. It's like whatever, but it's not great. I mean,
I like Little Caesars. I like the cost of it. You get what you pay for.
that's what I'm saying.
You get what you pay for.
It's still pizza, but it's not like if I'm just like if I'm just like, hey, it's right there, it's quick, whatever, just grab
Yeah.
it. Cool. But if I'm really like, I want some pizza, I'm not going to Little Caesars.
Are there any topics that are a no-go for you on a pizza?
Toppings?
Yeah.
I mean, when people start going out on a limb and
Like
throwing like I don't do anchovies.
okay.
Like I'm cool on I don't do seafood, so anchovies, bye.
Right.
But I mean, I'm more of a pepperoni. I'm traditionalist. I like the pepperoni sausage, bacon, ham.
Meat.
Yeah. But I mean, I can throw some veggies on there. Some. I know they do like sliced tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes.
Yeah.
And bell pepper or some spinach or something like that. Like I'm fine with all that. Like, but predominantly
It's meat. Yeah, see me, I'm a pepperoni. I won't say pepperoni only. Pepperoni's my primary pizza.
for
Just
sure.
give me
It's
some
gotta have
straight pepperoni. I'm good.
it's gotta have pepperoni.
I can do some combinations.
Yeah.
Not really a fan of fruit or vegetables. I'll eat them, but
Right.
as a last resort, I'm like, oh, this is all you got? All right, I guess
We should start a new thing and just like, hey, let's put some apple slices on our pizza.
Ooh, that sounds like some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles type shit.
I mean,
They're the reason I put ice cream on pizza back in the day.
just
A scoop of ice cream on top of my pepperoni pizza.
it's gross.
It was delicious, actually.
I'm gonna still say gross. I would say that I feel like if you took some cinnamon roll dough, flattened it out, smear some icing and maybe some caramel drizzle and throw some apples in there and then bake that mug, I feel like that could be a dope dessert pizza.
That'd be interesting.
Might have just invented something.
Yeah, we got to try that out later.
I can't imagine I'm the only one that's thought of that, but
you might be the only one that's made it.
You want to stop the show and
we can hit that later. We'll do that after.
But yeah, I mean that's my take on pizza. I mean, since we're gonna talk about what I like to call sport food because I love eating some pizza. Well, pizza, wings, and like I think hot links or hot dogs are like the go-to for like eating sports.
But not really hamburgers.
Burgers to a certain degree.
I feel like they're at the bottom of the list though.
But I feel like the rest of it's like a little higher.
If I'm going to a baseball game, I'd rather get a hot dog over a hamburger.
So with that said, hot dog, is it a sandwich, or is it? I mean, is a hot dog a sandwich?
That's an interesting concept. What's the alternative? What else would you call it?
What else would you call it? I mean, is it? I mean, people call it a hot dog, right?
Yeah.
But is it a sandwich because you're putting, you're putting your filling, right? It's the meat and whatnot in between two buns.
Which is the definition of a sandwich. Yeah.
So, but some people no, that's a hot dog. But I'm like, no, the hot dog is the actual link that goes into the bun.
How many people eat their sandwiches vertically? Is it a taco?
I mean, do you have to eat a hot dog vertically? Now, I feel like I feel
like most people do. Who eats a hot dog sideways?
The same people eat burritos like that. eat a burrito like it's a corn on the cob. You know what I'm saying? Like
start on the middle,
right
take a bite from the middle.
But that said, with the hot dog, theoretically, you could eat it sandwich style if you really wanted to. Now, is that weird because of what we've been trained in our heads to do? Yeah, it's weird.
I was gonna say, wouldn't all the top? It'd be like eating a taco.
But at the same time, if you eat a hot dog the traditional way, are you saying pause every time you take a bite?
Nah, you just eat it without when nobody's looking.
You're looking around like, hold on, I bet.
That's crazy. Got to pause on a hot dog. Corn dog, same shit.
See, like a corn dog, I mean, is a corn dog, right? But is a hot dog a sandwich?
I don't know. Interesting take.
I mean, there's a whole population of people who think that ketchup does not go on hot dogs.
Really?
That is a whole thing.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that use mustard.
Right, and mustard's fine.
Yeah.
That's for a hot dog, but there's a whole population of people.
Yeah, see, I don't do mustard.
I believe I want to say that's a Chicago thing. It's heavy. Like don't go to Chicago and put
ketchup on a
hot dog.
Note to self.
So, but I feel like ketchup goes in a hot dog.
I'm a ketchup, mayonnaise, and maybe a sweet relish. It's literally in that order. Well, actually, it'd be mayonnaise first, then ketchup, and then maybe some sweet relish. If I'm feeling
I do that, but I gotta throw the mustard on there.
Yeah, I don't really do the mustard.
So
the only mustard I do mess with is like a honey mustard, and typically that's if I'm doing like.
Now I will say, I am a huge fan of a slice of bacon next to my dog with some barbecue sauce and some melted cheese on top.
The bacon or
a hot dog. You make your hot dog. You put a slice of bacon next to the hot dog.
In the bun. Okay.
In the bun.
So see, I'm imagining a hot dog with a bacon sitting beside it.
No. See, again, the hot dog is the meat, and that's not the whole entirety of the bun. The bun is just a bun. So you take the hot dog link or a hot link, whatever. You put that in the bun. Put the bacon with it. Barbecue sauce. Put the cheese on there. Put it in. Pop it in. Let it melt.
A little pork on pork, huh?
That's the business right there.
I mean, hot dogs are.
But again, bacon makes everything better.
Bacon does make everything better.
You were about to say.
I was going to say it's a hot dog pork, but isn't it a little bit of all of the above?
Nobody knows.
A little beef.
Nobody knows.
Everything that's left over from the meat factory.
It's not American. I just saw it at SNL, man. It's not even American to ask what goes into a hot dog. Nobody knows.
Well, that's why I started doing
I'm a big fan of the Angus dogs, though. The all beef.
The all beef.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. That's the route I roll.
Every now and then when I go to Wiener Schnitzel, if I'm remembering, I'll do the all beef. But 9 times out of 10, I'll take it as it is. Give me that chili dog,
mystery meat
I mean, I haven't had any adverse effects to it yet, so whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Maybe that's what made us tall.
Maybe.
It's that and the hose water.
I drank a lot of milk too as a kid. Milk and cereal.
I'm still a big cereal person, man.
Milk and cereal is my bread and butter.
It's right. It's something about even like if I'm like sitting down, I'm like, all right, gonna watch a movie. You know, I got the systems. So if popcorn, I'm cool. I like popcorn too. But man, a bowl of cereal while you're watching the movie.
That's childhood reimagined right there.
That's
I was at the grocery store the other day trying to contemplate getting some cereal, but me and milk don't get along these days.
So what's your go-to cereal?
Off top,
I have a few that I enjoy, but there's one that's top of my list. It's always been my favorite since a kid.
I got a couple. If we're talking regular go-to, it's Frosted Flakes, but not the original Frosted Flakes.
Can you reach that?
But not the original Frosted Flakes.
I love Frosted Flakes.
The multi-meal Frosted Flakes, because I'm a cheap bastard and I like the resealable bag.
Got you.
So with multi-meal cereals,
Frosted Flakes for me is top tier in cereals. That's like penthouse level cereal.
Yeah, that's my regular default go-to. If I'm just grabbing some cereal, I'm gonna grab Frosted Flakes. If I want something a little fancy, I would have to say number 2 is Fruity Pebbles.
Okay.
And then after that, it would be Apple Jacks. I mean, there's a whole bunch of cereals that I like.
I'm not a huge fan of the fruity cereals like the Trix and the Fruity Pebbles, but I do the cocoa joints. So I'll do like Cocoa Krispies.
For as far as the chocolate goes, I'll do the Cookie Crisp.
Cookie Crisps, okay.
I mess with the cookie. That's the only chocolate cereal I'll do.
Do you wreck the roof of your mouth with Captain Crunch?
Yes.
Okay.
But I stopped doing. Well,
Crunch Berries or no?
Well, yeah, Crunch Berries over Captain Crunch, but I stopped doing the Crunch Berries because they turned my poop green. Which is also why I stopped doing the fruity cereals.
That's that dye.
Yeah,
so
all
that dye
the dye
in
the food coloring. Once I noticed it, I thought something was wrong with me. I'm like, oh my god, like what? Oh, it's all the crap that I'm eating.
You're not gonna be able to grow potatoes from that.
No, I don't want green potatoes. I don't want green potatoes. But yeah, Apple Jacks is a good one.
I'm not a big fan of Apple Jacks.
I love the Apple Jacks.
You know which cereal that, and I know a lot of people it's one of those like 50-50s, either you like it or you hate it.
Yeah.
Corn Pops.
Love Corn Pops.
I love Corn Pops.
Corn Pops, honeycombs.
Okay.
You fuck with honeycomb?
Yeah.
Yeah, love the honeycomb. My brother turned me on to it. I haven't tried it yet. He keeps trying. He's like, you get it yet? But honey over the honeycomb.
I have not done that.
In the milk. I was like, man, that sounds good. But
I mean, yeah.
I don't even think
Why
about
not?
it.
Right as honeycombs, put some honey on it.
Because usually I'm adding sugar.
See, I don't add sugar to my cereal.
I add sugar to everything. And if it's Frosted Flakes, I'm adding sugar.
It already got sugar. I don't need it.
I need more.
See?
Because I'm an addict, right?
Apparently.
So if it's Fruity Pebbles, if it's Apple Jacks, if it's any one of the fruity cereals, the Crunch Berries, instead of sugar, I substitute it with strawberry powdered quick. Sprinkle that on
that
top.
That does sound like a life hack, but again, I'm going with
that's a diabetes hack, bro.
That's too sugary, man.
That's a diabetes hack.
Now, like if you told me like, hey, I got some bland ass regular cornflakes, and did something like that, I'd be like, I get it. You try to give a little sweetness to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't.
Nah, man, I need the extra. Like, so Rice Krispies, I do a double. I double up on the Rice Krispies.
I get a bowl of ice cream, man, and I put 3 cups of sugar on top. Then I put some. You like the Elf?
The caramel, yeah.
You the Elf. You eating spaghetti? You eating spaghetti with crumbled up Pop-Tarts and some syrup on it, man.
Yeah. If I'm eating ice cream and I got some caramel squeeze, like I don't want to call it fudge, but like the caramel sauce.
So are you a caramel over a chocolate guy?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm the other way. Like caramel, like I'm just like, nah, that's just burnt sugar.
I like the sweets.
It's burnt sugar.
I like sugar.
So I go with the chocolate.
I'm definitely caramel on my ice cream or butterscotch.
Butterscotch.
Sweet. I just like it sweet. The sweeter the better.
The sweeter the cereal, wow.
Like I don't know. The higher the diabetes. Honestly, hey, only by the grace of God am I not diabetic, because the amount of sugar that I consume, it's not. It's
like, don't
really
get me wrong.
healthy.
I like my sweets and I like my levels of sweet, but that's something like I don't put sugar in any of my cereals, because if there's, especially like a Frosted Flakes, it's already sugar. It's frosted. Yeah. So I'm good with just that level of sweetness.
Nah, I prefer the sugary stuff. Like when it comes to candy, I'm doing Skittles, I'm doing Mike and Ike's. Like I want it as sweet as possible.
And you know what trips me out is, like, as a kid, it was always the cereal milk. When you was done eating, the cereal milk was the biz, depending on the flavor of the cereal, obviously, right?
But that's why I throw the strawberry quick in, so I give me a little strawberry milk when I'm done.
But you know that they now sell bottles of milk called cereal milk, and it's supposed to they have like frosted flavored milk, and
no, I ain't seen that.
No, yeah, for real.
I ain't seen that.
And I'm like, I haven't bought it yet, but I'm like, it just based on the price alone, I'm like, I'd rather just buy the cereal and just do it the
And do it
natural way.
yourself,
Like,
yeah.
why do I need to do this?
DIY.
Like, somebody was sitting there like, man, you remember as a kid the cereal milk? We should sell that like that.
We'll just cut out the middleman.
So I mean, my thing is, so are they just getting some cereal and just soaking it and then just straining it and selling
Maybe.
it?
Or they're probably just putting sugar in the milk. That's all it is.
Whatever makes the quote unquote frost,
Yeah.
which is
Sugar. some type of icing.
So
Yeah.
that's nuts, man.
So now that's making me think about Frosted Flakes on a donut. And
I'm sure somebody's done that.
And then glazing that up.
I feel like because I've seen cereals and stuff as toppings on donuts.
cereal,
I feel like that's something
On the
that's
donut.
probably out there. It's probably out there.
I'm gonna have to go on a donut run after this.
Donut. I'm a big fan of the chocolate bar donuts with the bacon on top.
I don't know if I've had
Oh,
those.
then I know where we got to roll then. Because bacon makes everything better.
It does. And see, I don't even do. Again, I'll eat a chocolate donut, but not my as a last resort.
They actually do have the maple glazed donuts.
Oh, yeah.
with
Now
bacon
you're
as well.
speaking- now you're speaking my language.
Maple and bacon is
Yeah,
right
they
there.
go
Yeah,
hand
yeah,
in
yeah.
hand, like
So you can do that too.
like steak and eggs.
Yeah, you can do that too. But again, just doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I feel like you could probably put some bacon bits in cereal and probably
That'll
knock
be
that up a
interesting.
nuts too.
That'll be interesting.
Get that sweet and savory.
Put bacon on everything. Bacon bits. You remember bacon bits? Do they still make bacon
I just
bits?
said put
I
bacon
know.
bits in the cereal.
I know, but I
I
mean,
remember
like,
bacon bits.
I mean, like, do
I
they
just
still?
said it.
What I meant to say was, do they still make bacon bits? That's what
I don't know
meant to
because I don't
say.
even think those are real bacon. I think
They
that
wasn't
was
real
clusters
bacon.
of seasoning.
Yeah.
They were just like, here, this is bacon flavoring.
Yeah, it was like some free dried, whatever to make it simulate
Right.
bacon pieces.
Right. Yeah, I remember we used to go to the salad bars, and that was like, it was on the end. It was always the
Scoop
bacon
it up.
bits.
Yeah.
And I think they were called Bake-O bits, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that was the brand.
Bake-O.
I think they were Bake-O bits.
So they don't get sued by
So-
Big Bacon.
Somebody could fact check me in the comments, but I seem to remember the label of it being Bake-O bits.
They don't want to get sued by Big Bacon.
Yeah, Big Bacon. Be like, nah, take that down a notch, son.
Get a cease and desist for Mr. Chris P.
Crispy.
Crispy bacon.
So with that said, are you a crispy bacon or a soft bacon?
As a kid, I was a soft bacon. I don't know how. I look back and think about the way that I used to eat my bacon. I don't even know how we started doing it, but we would do it and I don't know if a lot of ovens have the bottom broiler now. I feel like a lot of them have the broiler inside the main oven, but we had the bottom broiler.
For sure.
So we do the bacon in there on one side, and I would like it to where the edges would get crispy. Like I'm a huge fan of
You got that little chewiness with the juiciness.
inside the middle.
For sure.
But like I'm a huge fan of like pork skins, fried pork skins.
For sure.
So on the edges, when the fat would get crispy like that, I
Right.
would get that pork skin vibe. So I just wanted my edges crispy, but I like the middle soft. But now as an adult, I prefer crispy bacon.
Yeah, see, I like, for me as an adult now, I like it either way. It just depends on what I'm eating it with, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm having breakfast and whatnot, I enjoy the crispy bacon. Put in breakfast burrito, things like that.
Yeah.
But there, and I think I actually introduced you to it a couple weeks back. But the candied bacon,
Candy bacon. Yeah.
like that being a little bit softer and having that juiciness to it with that maple and the cayenne and all that
Yeah.
stuff, give it that little spice. Now if that was crispy, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. I like that one to be a little bit more.
Do you do scrambled eggs?
I do.
Do you do bacon in your scrambled eggs?
I have done bacon and scrambled egg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I've tried that before. I used to do it. That's how I used to cook it up. I would do the bacon in the pan, cut up the bacon, throw it in the pan, cook it like that, and then cook the eggs in the bacon grease with the
yeah.
bacon.
Oh yeah. I've
and
done
then
that.
throw some cheese in there. So
Yep.
like an omelet without folding it up.
I would kind of do that too, and I'd have the sausage links on the side. I'd chop them up and throw them in with it too.
Jimmy
So
Dean or Farmer John's.
It didn't matter. Whatever's on sale. Whatever's on sale. But
All
you
sausage.
You got that going. You got the bacon going. Then when the bacon was done, you chopped up the sausage, threw it in with the bacon, then cracked that egg over the top.
Nice.
Yeah, same pan.
Yeah. All in the
So,
same. Yeah. Easy
yeah.
cleanup too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Done.
Breakfast
So-
of champions right there.
That was the way to go. I mean, cereal, bacon. Yeah, that's
Nothing like waking up on a Saturday morning, watching some cartoons with a mixing bowl full of cereal. So we used to get, And my mom hated buying Frosted Flakes for me for this reason, because it would only be a one sitting. Like she'd buy the Frosted Flakes on, let's say, a Wednesday. They
It was
wouldn't
done
get
on
open.
Thursday.
No, I would
Oh,
wait.
okay.
I would wait till Saturday morning when I
Oh,
could watch
okay.
my cartoons. But that morning, it was a silver mixing bowl,
Hobo.
a silver spoon, whole boxes going in, half a gallon of milk, and
Yep.
I'm just. And by the time I'm done, everything's all super soggy. But I like it soggy.
See, I was the same way, but what I did was I had a fairly large bowl, but it wasn't a mixing bowl.
Yeah.
But I'd throw my cereal in there, and I'd have the milk sitting right there to be watching Saturday morning cartoons. Pouring that milk in, eating it when it was done, pouring more cereal in, add a little more milk as needed. But by the time I was done, not only was the box gone, but like you said, almost the entire half gallon was gone. Mom was just like, I just bought milk. Like, where's all the milk? Like,
Right. Like, you
But-
can't keep doing this. You're going to eat us out of house and home. I'm like, it's just cereal.
Saturday, there was nothing like Saturday morning cartoons, too.
I used to, after these messages,
We'll
we'll
be
be right back.
yeah. That's I think that might have what got me into R&B.
Right?
Listening to the commercial jingles.
Yeah.
Like, dang,
those
that got some
transitions
soul,
were
man.
dope. They don't make R&B like they used to.
They don't make R&B like they used to. I was having a conversation not that long ago about, the stuff that we kind of vibed with, especially when we were coming into high school years and stuff like that. The Brian McKnights, the Keith Sweats, even the 112s, the Jagged Edge, the Dave Hollisters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Mark Dorseys,
the
Case, the Joe.
Joe.
There was a lot of artists out there that was just.
It was a different time back then.
You know what's crazy when you think about it is in R&B, in any genre, almost aside from hip hop, and there are some exceptions, but they sing the songs that they didn't write. Like, other people will write songs for these artists, and it's fine. And then you got rap, you got hip hop, where if somebody so and so ghost wrote for you,
Ghostwriter, yeah.
you don't even write your own stuff. You trash. Can't even write. It's a trip how. I mean, and hip hop is a competition, right? Like I mean, there's battles, right? But it's so, but there are exceptions, right? Because we know like Eminem and Jay-Z have written for Dre and things like that. Now I know when I think of Dre, I think producer and then rapper.
Right.
So I get it, and I think that's why he gets a pass with some of that.
I got a theory.
But there's a lot of rappers that once they find out that they got ghostwriters,
They lose all credibility.
Yeah, like I mean,
I have a theory.
what's the theory?
Because there's a difference between R&B and rap.
For sure.
R&B is a singer, so your talent is your voice. As a rapper, your talent is the words that you say. Like,
Right.
If you can come up with it off the top of your head, that makes you a better rapper than somebody that can't. But as a singer, you can sing whatever. We can have the same verse. You sing it and I sing it, but if you sing it better than me,
Right.
Like, your talent is your voice.
So what about melodic rappers? There's a lot of rappers who their voice is their instrument as well. Like we know this. Like they're
like the Nate Dogg's?
The Nate Dogg. Well, that's a very extreme, right? Because like we talked about that. Where is Nate Dogg R&B, right?
I'm gonna start naming all the sing song.
But I mean, but just think about like the Snoop Dogg's, the Ludacrises, the Busta Rhymes, the people who have those distinct voices, who have done songs that have a melodic tone to them.
Yeah.
If you found out that somebody wrote for Busta or some of that, I feel like that'd be a huge news story. But
Yeah.
Jay-Z wrote this verse for, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I agree.
and it might have happened. We don't know. I mean, because that's not something that I've ever heard. But I mean, I doubt. I think Busta Rhymes has a really solid pen game. So I'm not questioning that at all.
No, I agree. That again, I think it comes down to the rap, like because the art itself is the compilation of words that you're using, the cadence that you're using, everything like that. Like,
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I know tonality plays into it too,
For sure.
but like your skill is the ability to put words together in a way that make people
Right.
take notice.
I mean, R&B is crazy because, like, and I remember being a lot younger. I mean, now it's just stuff that's just known, right? But
Yeah.
When I started learning, throughout high school, because I knew Babyface as a singer, right?
Right.
And then come to find out, he was writing for everybody. He was writing for, Boys to Men and like plenty of artists, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of singers who also write, right? And I get that. But then there's surprises, right? There's like, there's certain people where you find out that they wrote a song that you were like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I know the first time I learned Whitney Houston's arguably greatest song ever, right? Or I don't want to say maybe as an opinion, right? But arguably what some would consider her greatest song
We
ever
can say
was
one of her greatest.
was The Bodyguard, right? It was, And I Will Always Love You. When I found out who wrote that for the first time, I was like, word? Like that threw me for a loop. Like, and I learned that a while back, but that was one that really got me.
Yeah.
Do you know who wrote it?
No.
Dolly Parton.
Really? Yeah, and see, I feel like it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, it's the voice. Like,
Right.
As a singer,
I mean, Whitney,
really,
one of the strongest voices probably I've ever heard in my life, right?
Yeah.
But like, I would have never, if in a million years, if you'd have asked me who wrote it,
I would have
and
never
at
thought
that
Dolly
point,
Parton.
knowing that, like, you know, she didn't, obviously, I would be guessing all these other people.
Yeah.
I don't think Dolly Parton would have ever crossed my list.
Yeah, that's the last person I would have thought of.
And that blew my mind. And that I want to say maybe like 10, 15 years ago is when I found that out. But like, that's one of those things where I was like, Dolly Parton wrote "And I Will Always Love You," which is arguably Whitney Houston's one of her biggest songs, if not biggest song.
And, you know, maybe in part due to the movie.
Right. I mean, I'm sure the movie gave it a huge boost, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, even her vocal range in that, you know, hitting those notes, carrying those notes like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was very impressive. And there was nobody else really doing it like that at that time, you know?
Yeah. And then I started thinking about, like I said, you know, writers, like we talked about Brian McKnight, Babyface, like a lot of R&B writers, Bruno Mars, for that matter, writes a lot of people's stuff, right? But they can also sing, right?
Right.
So not only can they sing themselves in their own right, but they can also lay the references, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm like, is there somewhere where there's a reference recording of Dolly Parton singing
Ooh.
"And I Will Always Love You"? And how does that sound? Because Dolly Parton was a successful and great singer in her own right?
Right.
And she had some range.
She did.
You know, it's country. It's, you know, a little bit out of my, you know, my taste, my preference, but, you know, talented, right?
Yeah.
What would that sound like? And like, now I'm like, man, I wish that was something that somebody could. I'm sure it's there somewhere. There's tape somewhere.
That'd be dope to hear. Because I mean, in my head right now, I'm hearing Jolene. I'm imagining like a Jolene type of vibe on that.
Yeah, because she has that little country twang to her voice and the whole nine. And so, but just trying to hear her maybe reference some, if not all, of that song.
Yeah.
And then they send that to Whitney. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious if that even happened, right?
Now,
I feel like it did, but
there is one artist, and I guess one artist that I can think of where there are known reference tracks that are published, and that's Prince.
yes.
I can't think of too many other artists who have reference tracks out there. Like, I know Neo writes a lot of songs for people.
Right.
But like, I can't, and that's just me. I'm not saying they don't exist. I just can't think of any other artists that I've heard that have done reference tracks that have been put out.
So, and there's an example. There's a small example, but Case and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Joe released a song called "Missing You."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many years it was apart, but Case released "I'm Missing You."
Mm-hmm.
You remember that song?
Yeah.
It's the same song,
Really?
but Case, it was a single, so it kind of blew up more.
Yeah.
So everybody knows the Case version. But if
Yeah.
you go back and look at on Joe's album, I want to say it was his second album. I want to say
Mm-hmm.
he has a song called "Missing You." It's the same song, and when you hear it vocally, it's very, very. They nearly sound alike.
So then, is it a cover?
Case's version is a cover.
But okay. Well, I was gonna say, if it's the same,
It's the same song.
are they doing, like, did Joe do a cover of? Is there an original or a prior "Missing You"?
I don't think so.
That'd be
I think
interesting.
it was Joe's song. Writing credit, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
I just remember the song itself. But Joe did the song, and then when the Case version came out, I know a lot of people was on the Case version.
Yeah.
Because it was dope.
I was definitely on Case, but I wasn't. Not to say I wasn't. Like, I was a fan of Joe, but like, Joe wasn't. He wasn't a go-to artist. I wasn't out looking to get Joe's records.
See, and as an R&B fan at the time, I did. I thought Joe had a phenomenal sound.
Yeah.
So he was on. What was the soundtrack he was on? Oh man, I'm brain farting right now.
I'm gonna throw some randoms out there. Don't shoot the messenger if they're wrong. Above the Rim.
I don't think it was Above the Rim. It might have been Don't Be a Menace.
Don't Be a Menace. Okay.
Might have been. Don't Be a Menace.
Baby, I wanna
Yeah.
do Oh,
It was one of those songs.
The things your man won't do. Yeah, he was on. That was Don't Be a Menace.
We'll auto tune that in post.
Ooh, ooh.
So, but like Joe for the most part, like I enjoyed Joe's records when he came out with stuff. I mean, remember that song Stutter and all, a bunch of those songs. I think that was, I want to say, second or third album. But he had some dope songs, So, and then when Case came out, obviously he had some fire as well. So
yeah, I like Joe's music, but I was more a fan of Case, and I don't know if that's because. And I don't know if you remember this. Case had come to our high school.
Yeah.
One time for like I don't even know what it was for, but
it was Rome.
Rome was there too.
Yeah, it was Case in Rome.
Yeah. And I want to say, and of course her name is gonna slip me right now.
The one that
a
had
gospel singer.
Oh yeah. Well, you remember John B was the vice principal's like nephew or son. Or
I did not know that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing Case there, and ever since then I was a fan.
Yeah.
He had that what was that one with him and Foxy Brown? I say I'm a fan. I can't even think of the name of the song.
I'm sitting there thinking about all this other stuff, and that threw me for a loop.
I got the beat in my head because it comes in, and Foxy Brown, she was a beast.
And can't you see?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh dude, I'm it kills me that I can't think of it right. I can hear it in my head.
It'll come to me.
But
yeah, he did that, and then he did the Faded Pictures.
Yeah, Faded Pictures.
So yeah. I mean, and that was man.
R&B back then was different, but I think
and like the Dave Hollisters and dude, like there
Tanks.
Tank was.
I feel like so as a. I'm gonna use my personal experience just as a fan of music.
Okay.
I think during your years as a child growing up, listening to your parents' music, because that's pretty much forced upon you. Whatever music, if your parents are into music, if they're listening to music, you're forced to listen to their music, right? And then you hit a point where you start to develop your own sense of music. You're looking for different songs. You're looking for different artists. You're looking for different genres and things like that. I feel like our generation growing up, there was a lot of soulful music. We had the Al Greens that we grew up listening to. We had the Marvin Gayes that we grew up listening to. We had the Aretha Franklins that we grew up listening to. It was a lot more soulful. There was a lot more love that was incorporated into music. Relationships like baby, 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 please, type of stuff.
Indeed.
Now, our generation, which was I would say the biggest push of like rap and hip hop, kind of took it into a different direction and became more the message became more misogynistic.
Right.
It was more, women just being seen as arm candy, pretty much.
Right.
We got songs like
it became the same level of ego. The hip hop had the ego, the flaunting,
right,
etc. Yeah, they kind of adopted into that.
Yeah, it was the boys club.
But then they would every once in a while you get an artist that would bring it back, because I remember like it got to that era, and I think in the middle of that era too was when remember LSG came out,
and
all that stuff, and they try to.
But again, they were raised. I mean, but LSG little older than the rest of us.
Right.
But
but also
tapping back into
also
the old,
incorporated the rap, because remember they had that single with Busta Rhymes and them.
Yeah. I can't think of the name
Curious.
of the song, but yeah.
Curious.
Yeah.
Touch Me, Tease Me.
Yes.
That was the Foxy Brown and Case.
Touch Me. Yeah. Dope song. But so even during the 90s, like there was a collaboration between hip hop rap artists and R&B artists. There was a lot of songs that you had where you had the rapper and you had the R&B that were combining together. And even R&B at the time, like the R&B artists of the 90s had more of I would say a less polished look, because R&B before they were suited up, they were stage ready, they were ready to perform,
doing the little routines, like the Temptations, the Boyz II Men's, right,
exactly. And then now we have the R&B artists of the 90s, as they were collaborating with the hip hop, they kind of took on that hip hop vibe also. Yeah, your Jagged Edges, for example.
Yeah, I mean Jagged Edge, 112.
Your 112s,
right?
It was very R&B, but it was very hip. It was like a genre mesh,
Right.
Now, if that's the music that we grew up listening to, now we're the adults and we're having kids. That's the music we're listening to as we're cleaning the house on our Saturdays. So that's what they're hearing. they're hearing Snoop Dogg's,
and then they take it to that next level,
and they're hearing NWA's, and they're hearing Jagged Edges, and Where the Party At, and all the stuff like that. So the influence that led into them doing music was different than like the R&B that we had was a lot more lovey-dovey, for a lack of a better way to put it. The R&B that they had was more party up type, Now, don't get me wrong, we did have Case, we did have the Joes,
right?
We did have the Tanks, so that was always there. And then, not to branch off into another genre, but we had our neo soul too,
right?
Breaking out in the early 2000s with your Erykah Badu's and your Music Soul Childs,
for sure,
which was a great genre. I love that genre.
Yeah, Music Soul Child was
love that genre. Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, man. The first time I heard Jill Scott,
Bilal?
I was like,
Bilal,
another great one.
Yeah,
Bilal was ahead of his time.
Yeah,
the music, everything. Like he was.
It was a trip because when he first came out, it gave me Maxwell vibes.
Yeah, total.
And then, but he took it in a that different direction.
Yeah,
and fire, like just fire.
Super dope. So it's like I just feel like the artists now, they just had a different setup,
right, than
R&B artists of old. They had more of a misogynistic influence into their music, because you don't really hear, and again, not to say that it's not out there, but as far as mainstream goes, you don't hear a lot of lovey-dovey, baby please, the Keith Sweat, and no shade to Keith Sweat, but like to me, a lot of his music, it just sounded like him begging.
So yeah. And he had that real nasally.
He did.
Yeah, it worked.
No money.
Who can do yeah.
But that song used to bang.
Oh yeah, it did.
That song used to bang. Twisted, bruh. All of them joints used to hit.
So or I should say passing the baton, right?
Yeah.
Boyz II Men, Wanye.
Mm-hmm.
His sons, I think they call themselves Wanmore.
Okay.
They got some skills too. I don't think they get the mainstream love that they should.
Yeah.
I know they got some social media love, but I don't think they get the mainstream because, like you said, they're not doing the level of misogyny and vulgarity.
Yeah.
That I think it's kind of turned into.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of, like on social media, they cover a lot of other people's songs.
Right.
And stuff. And I think they have their own stuff. And I know from what I saw a while back, they was working with Mary J. Blige, doing some stuff. But
that's cool.
They got vocals, man.
I gotta check them out. I didn't even.
They got vocals. They're I think they're all teenagers at this point.
Yeah.
But they got vocals.
I gotta check them out.
It's like Boyz II Men Part 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, he got his sons trained. Like they got voices. So
that'll be good to see. Cause like I don't even, and again, it's not. I feel like it's not being pushed. I don't feel like R&B is being pushed.
It's not.
Like it was back then.
I feel like we've kind of gotten to that point too, where like hip hop needs that, and we talked about this, where like they need that subgenre, right? And I get it that on the inside there is a sort of a standard where there's like the old school hip hop and the gangster hip hop, but I think we need officially to have like contemporary hip hop, neo soul hip hop, conscious hip hop,
right?
Old school, you know what I mean? Like
we
need that because every genre has that, which is why you have artists like Ozzy Osbourne and the Rolling Stones, and they're touring and they're still successful with it. They're releasing new records, you know what I mean? Like well into their 50s, 60s, 70s, you know what I mean?
Right.
And in hip hop, we're at year 50, right? We just celebrated 50 years of hip hop. So why not start doing the same thing with that genre and having those categories and allowing people stop trying to like push that whole narrative of like, oh man, you're 40 years old. What you got? What are you talking about? What are you rapping for? You're 50. You're old. Like Jay-Z. What is Jay-Z gonna say? Like, nah, I want to hear.
Yeah.
Like I want to know what 60-year-old Jay-Z is gonna say.
Like hip hop is a young man's game.
Yeah.
Like you've aged out of it.
Yeah, because ironically, some of those older heads are way still more lyrically skilled than the younger heads.
And I think it's necessary. And I do see a lot of artists from our genre, from our era, I won't say genre, from our era that are coming out now that are dropping albums. LL's making music, Busta's making music, MC Light's making music. Like there's artists out here that are still. And
I've seen, you said LL. I saw reaction videos of his latest songs from his new album.
Yeah.
And not just the one with Eminem. I mean, that one, a whole nother level in itself, but just reactions to his lyrics in various songs that he has in this new album.
Yeah.
And you see these younger people, I'm talking like early 20s, maybe even late teens, doing TikTok and YouTube reviews, right?
Impressed.
And they're just like, wait, this dude is still. I mean, you have to realize now he's now had, I believe, his record charted, his latest record charted.
Nice.
Which I believe makes him the only hip hop artist, maybe even the only artist, but definitely the only hip hop artist to ever chart in 5 different decades. He charted in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 10s, and now the 20s.
Now the 20s? Yeah, that's impressive.
So, but watching some of the young people react to his lyrics and his wordplay and just like being blown away, like it was almost like, how can this dude even do this?
Right.
It's like, it's not how can he do that? He been doing this.
Yeah, but it's stuff that they've never seen before. Because I saw, it's like, that's like.
And the dope part is they should now go, for them they may have known his name and not been familiar with his music enough, but now knowing that and being that impressed, go back and listen to that catalog. Because you'd be surprised. Which
is easy to do now with the Spotifys and the Apple Music.
One touch.
Yeah.
So,
pull up everybody's catalog.
I think we need to celebrate, regardless of age, to celebrate these artists, man, their creativity. I mean, you can't knock, going back to the entertainment value. You can't knock that entertainment value.
Right.
You can't knock it.
Right.
So, I'm
all true. I like it.
I'm just a fan of it.
I think we're there for it. But again, one reason that I think factors into the fact that we don't have multiple genres: 1, mainstream isn't pushing it. 2, in the grand scheme of things, hip hop is still a relatively new genre. Because don't get me wrong, yes, it's 50 years old, but like, what other genre has come out in the past 50 years? So
here's
when
the thing.
When it started, it was just one genre because it was so small.
Right.
So now that it's grown into what it's grown into, it would be very easy to break it. And like you said, you didn't say underground. I can't think of the word. Internally,
we're all aware
of the different genres because we've heard about the drill rap. We know about, the conscious rap. We know about backpack rap. We know about underground rap. As consumers of the entertainment, like, we've created these different genres, but mainstream hasn't factored that in, and it's just hip hop across the board, which is why it leads to a lot of people thinking that hip hop is a young person's game because, anything over 35, if you haven't, to the emerging rappers or the up and coming rappers, the wannabe rappers, anything past 35, it's like, and this isn't my opinion, I'm just saying, people are like, you're embarrassing yourself. What are you still doing? This guy's still trying to make it as a rapper. Like, there's an age limit on lyrical content.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And there's not, because it's all from the dome. It's all psychological. So if you've got a brain that's sharp enough to have this wordplay, to put these, combination of words together that nobody else can even fathom.
Right.
Why is that limited to a certain age range?
Right. And just to rebuttal the genre being young, 50 years, rock and roll, right? Mm-hmm. Rock and roll from the 60s. By the time it hit the 80s, 20 years later, there was already a subgenre called oldies. 20 years later, right?
True, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you get into like the 90s and the 2000s where you start having the alternative rock and the heavy metal and this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now you've got all these different genres. They're 30, 40 years into the genre. You're just branching out these different leaves. And then you had, even 70s, right? 70s rock is literally called 70s rock.
Yeah. No,
so,
that's true.
80s rock, you know what I mean? Like, so even if you're defining it by the decade versus the sound, they still were able to split that genre up even after 15, 20 years. They were already calling, these are oldies now.
Right.
And they had a whole radio station, KRS 101, which was oldies.
Right.
So,
but again, that was encouraged by the mainstream, the big record companies.
No, I agree with that part. But I'm just saying, as far as the age of the genre, we're well beyond the age where we could have been branched that off. And I think, again, internally,
no, you're right. That makes sense.
Internally, it has been branched off because, like you said, we know backpack rap, we know trap, we know hi-fi, there's tons of different subgenres.
Right.
It's just that when you look at in the terms of old school, if you look at a record store, but if you look at Spotify, if you look at Apple Music, if you look at any streaming platform, it's hip hop.
Yeah.
That's it. Or it might be rap.
Right.
But there's no when you go, there's playlists now that say trap and 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, those are playlists and stuff like that. But when you're looking up something based on genre itself, there's no subgenres for hip hop. It's just hip hop.
It's just hip hop.
And sometimes they even go hip hop and R&B into the same genre, where I'm like, wait, now you've got two different musical styles that you're now squishing together.
Yeah.
So, and then they'll take out the old school, like the Teddy Pendergrasses and the things like that, the Luther Vandross, and they'll put those in soul. So you have a soul, but you have hip hop and R&B clustered into one.
Right.
And it's like, come on, like let's figure this out. You know what I mean? Like, but like you said, I mean, it's definitely a form of corporate suppression.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And even as popular as it is, like we were speaking about, you know, even going to social media, TikTok, you're not seeing the heavy metal TikTok dance or the heavy metal, you know, or you're not even seeing country for the most part. Somewhat, I've seen a couple,
bit, yeah,
depending on the style, right? But most of it is some hip hop version of something, you know, even if it's a pop hip-hop
or at least
song.
hip hop influenced,
right?
Yeah,
you know. So that said, if it's that mainstream that's where all the popularity is from, and you're putting it in all your commercials, and you're using it for advertising, and you're grabbing the old stuff and the new stuff for all different commercials, right?
Yeah.
You're putting it as the backing tracks on TV shows and movies, et cetera, et cetera. It's obviously mainstream enough that
it is, and it's a shame that they don't want to embrace it. But you know, there's this changing of the guard.
They embrace the profitability.
That's what they love about it.
That's what they want.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, even Biggie said it back in the day. We never thought that hip hop could take it this far. You know? They thought it was gimmicky. They thought it was a fad. They thought
that's
it
why
was
that
a trend.
song was made.
It wasn't gonna.
Not Biggie's.
Right.
Rapping Duke.
But it wasn't supposed to. They could not fathom it lasting as long as it has, and that it's going to last even longer.
It is.
Like,
it's just going to keep evolving.
It's
and
not
meshing.
going anywhere.
And that's the thing, is like, now we've gotten to the point where you have, you know, older heads going, oh, this new stuff is trash, all the auto-tune this or the mumble rap that and all that stuff. And I'm not saying I agree or nor disagree, but I will say that, like, a lot of the mumble stuff is not my cup of tea. But again, subgenre.
See, for me, exactly. I was going to say, for me,
there's
that's
your
a different,
subgenre.
that's a
You've
different
got
genre.
your mumble rap, or, you know, your auto-tune rap, whatever. You have that stuff over there. That, oh, what genre of music do you listen to? I listen to this, you know.
Yeah.
Now I can list off the genres within hip hop, or within that I listen to.
Right.
And I don't have to, you know, because if I say I love hip hop, and you say, oh, do you know about, you know, Little Tweaky? Like, nah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a mumble rapper for. Well, that's why I don't know.
Different,
you know?
yeah, it's a whole different category.
But yeah, I mean, I vote for genre separation, independence.
I'm on board with that.
Genre independence within hip hop.
I can get behind that.
So,
Speaking of voting, I noticed you got on a Tango Coop 24 shirt.
yeah, you know, last week I had the Camacho, and I was all for him and not sure, but this week I decided I've got higher standards. I'm going with Tango and Coop.
Yeah.
And by all means, to any listeners and any viewers, don't write Tango and Coop in on your ballot. Although that would be hilarious. Don't do that.
Yeah, I think Tango, I'd be a great VP.
So
I can sit back and do nothing all day.
Thanks.
Like, what do VPs do?
Well, the good thing is at least I know, based on society's standpoints, I can put a lot of blame on you. So
I'll be that guy. I'm always the fall guy. So
no,
I got you.
But yeah, no, I mean, this was just a gimmicky way of me supporting the right to vote, and you know, on a serious level. We are going to be putting a link up for these shirts. They are going to be for sale.
They'll be down in the description.
We're starting up our merch, so hopefully some of you guys out there will support. But with that being said, on a serious level, vote. I think voting is very important. Not just these presidential elections, these national elections, but your local elections especially, because that's what directly affects you. Those are the people that represent you to these people who are running in the national elections. They represent you to the president. But they're all important. So get out there and vote. If you're, looking at some of our analytics and stuff from our content, we have younger viewers. We have some teenage viewership. So for those of you who are in that younger age range, if you're 17 and you're going to be 18 by the time it's time to vote, it's time for the election, you can register to vote right now. And I encourage you to do so. It's your future. And, you know, it's just important. It's an important thing to do. And, you know, I don't think a lot of people understand that they can register to vote. If you're going to be 18 by the time the election takes place, you are able to register as a 17-year-old. So if you're 17, you're going to be eligible by November, vote. Do it.
That was a good PSA. I like that.
Do it.
Get out and vote. Your vote matters.
It does.
So don't think that it doesn't, because the people on the other side of the aisle think their vote matters and they're going out to vote. So if you don't vote, the other side wins. I'm gonna just leave it at that. You pick your side. I'm just saying, go out and vote.
And you know, I like to use a slogan that we have in our campaign, which is the ticket for "Can you reach that?"
Can you reach that?
I believe that if everybody gets out and votes, we can brighten our future just even if it's just a little bit. Let's make the future the way we want to do it, and at that point, I think we can reach that. So
I agree.
That's it. Can you reach that?
Can you reach that?
Can you reach that?
Can You Reach That? Brought to you by Double One Entertainment in Coopersville. Hosted by Tango and Coop. And created and edited by Tim Greenlee and Brandon Adolphus. Music, sound design, and editing by Michael B. That's me. Visual art and graphic design by Jonathan Greenlee. Additional visual design by Timothy Greenlee.